Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a great day and a great week. Wanted to tell you a little bit about yesterday's event. So we had a really great time. Some lovely people turned up, and it was really nice to see people meeting each other in person. As is quite normal for these kinds of things, I was the only person that knew everybody, so it was really great to see the connections being formed. We talked a lot about the challenges that different business owners were facing. We kind of introduced ourselves and all the different businesses, and yeah, it was really great. It was really fun. It's definitely something that I'm going to do more often. It's really important to me to have this online community so that we can all support and encourage each other, but I think it's great when you also, there's nothing quite like meeting face to face. So for those of you that are in London, I will be posting a January date very soon, so hopefully you'll be able to come along to that and meet some of your fellow community members. And for those of you not in London, we're working on it. I promise you, we're working on it. So morning Tracy, thank you so much for watching. So today I want to talk about self-care, which is a subject that is very, very close to my heart, and I imagine very close to many of your hearts also. We've spoken in previous weeks about building a support network and the importance of having like-minded people around you to support and challenge you and give you some perspective. We spoke last week about building a healthy routine and some of the key components to put into a healthy routine. Now, self-care encompasses those and many other things, and I've noticed that it's become a bit of a trendy topic in recent times. Everybody seems to be talking about it, but I think it's a fundamentally important topic, particularly for today's entrepreneur. As business owners, we are perhaps more susceptible than some other people to burning ourselves out, to getting overwhelmed and exhausted. We have all of this freedom, don't we? We have the freedom to manage our own schedules, to manage our own lives. We can do what we like. We have all this freedom. And the flip side of that, if you like, is that there can be a tendency to work far too hard, work too many hours. The business is our responsibility. When we take on team members, then that is a huge weight on our shoulders. And so many business owners and entrepreneurs that I work with find themselves getting very, very overwhelmed and frustrated and burning out. And burnout is now such a common phenomenon that the World Health Organization has actually classified it as a legitimate medical diagnosis, which I found absolutely fascinating. And reading up then on the signs or the symptoms of burnout, let me share these with you and see if any of these resonate with you. So the first one is energy depletion, so feeling completely drained of energy. Have you ever experienced that? I certainly have, and it's quite common when you're working too hard that you just feel like you've got no energy whatsoever. The second symptom that really resonated with me is, and that I see a lot in my clients, is this feeling of sort of disconnecting, disassociation with what you're doing, and that can actually even get into feelings of negativity or even cynicism about what you're doing. And so I meet people that are falling out of love with their business and kind of going, do you know what, I'm not sure this is for me anymore, I'm not sure I love this industry anymore. I spoke to somebody a few months ago who is in recruitment, and he was saying, you know, I'm not sure if recruitment's really for me anymore. So that feeling kind of dissociation, or where you almost you've cared too much that then you get to a point where almost you can't care anymore. So that is a common symptom of burnout. And the third one that struck a chord with me was that doctors can look out for is a significant drop off in performance. So if you're used to performing at this level and suddenly you find like, you know, you can't remember things, or you can't move as fast, or you just can't do what you used to be able to do, that is also a symptom of burnout. And so I think for today's entrepreneur, this concept of self-care to avoid burnout and overwhelm is really, really important. So I wanted to give you my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts about self-care. What does it mean for you? What do you do to look after your physical, emotional, mental well-being? What does self-care mean for you? And one of the things when I was thinking and preparing for this live today, one of the things I've been thinking about is that self-care, if you Google self-care, a lot of the things that are suggested seem to me to almost be like wanting to escape from your life, that self-care is taking yourself out of your life, out of your business, out of your situation. And actually for me, I'm not sure that that's particularly sustainable. I know people that take a holiday and then they come back and they feel even more overwhelmed and even more stressed because they've taken time out. And so instead of feeling like we need to escape from our lives or escape from our businesses, for me, self-care actually starts with building a life and building a business that actually works for you, that you don't need to escape from. And so I wanted to hear what your thoughts were about that. Do you see self-care as an escape, or do you see it as actually making your life work for you? Because for me, I think it's definitely in my business, what I do is help other business owners build a business that works for them. And that's really super important, because that will look different for each and every one of you. But even beyond business, I know that's what we're talking about mainly in this group, but beyond business in our lives, it's about setting our lives up so that they work for us. And self-care is accepting who we are, what our limitations are, and therefore building our lives around that. And I wanted to share kind of three aspects of this with you, and they're all about time. It's all about how we manage time and how we view time, and I'd love to get your thoughts on these three things. So the first thing is reading up about what makes people burn out, this concept of getting overwhelmed and burning out. What I've discovered is actually sometimes it's not the activities that make us feel so exhausted, it's the fact that we don't have any breaks in between them. And so when I was actually doing research for my book, I discovered that a lot of research has been done into taking breaks, even small breaks, between activities. So let me give you an example. So if you come out of a meeting, don't go straight into picking up a phone call or dealing with another client or having a conversation. When you finish a meeting, take a moment. It can be as short as 30 seconds or a minute. Yeah? Just take a moment to let yourself drift off. Let yourself stare out of the window, or just sit on a park bench, or just stand in the street and watch the world go by. Just let your brain switch off for 30 seconds or a minute. If you're on a call or doing something like this, so after I've done this, I will take a couple of minutes, I will walk around, I will look out of the window, I won't go straight to what's the next email, what's the next call. Just having breaks, scientists have discovered that having breaks between activities makes our brain feel refreshed and gives us more energy, allows us to manage our energy better. So take a look at how you're structuring your day and make a conscious effort to take those pauses. Pick up a book for 5 minutes. Just do something that you love. Stare out of the window. Just sit and let your brain drift away between activities before you move on to the next thing. So do one thing, finish, take a pause, and then do another thing. Just try it for a day and see how it makes you feel. See if you notice any difference in your energy levels. That's my first tip, or food for thought. The second one is actually something that we were talking about in the event yesterday. I'm sure that Rosie won't mind me sharing. She has just left her job and is starting out on some really exciting new projects. She's shared some of that in the group, and we're really excited actually to have somebody that's right at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey. Many of you are several years in or more experienced, but Rosie's right at the beginning of her journey, so we were all very excited to hear what her plans were. But she's just left her job, and we were speaking in the group about the guilt that we can feel sometimes about taking time for ourselves, about taking time out. Just letting that land. You've just left your job, you're still figuring out everything, you're still thinking, you're still waking up in the morning and thinking about your team. That's what you shared with us, Rosie. So just give yourself permission to take a little bit of time to absorb a huge change in your business or in your life. And how do you deal with the guilt? Great question. How do you deal with the guilt? So my answer to that is to remember that in your business and in your life, you are really important. Your friends, your family, your colleagues, your team need you to be okay. And so self-care is not selfish. Self-care is a vitally important thing that we need to do for ourselves as business owners, in fact, as human beings, but let's stick to business owners for now. Our business, our clients, our suppliers, our team need us to be okay. And so taking that time that you need to absorb when you make a big decision or you make a big change is really, really important. And just taking time for you, going back to my point at the beginning about feeling like you need to escape from your life. I don't mean it like that, but just taking time to think about what you need so that you're okay and you can come back refreshed into your business. Everybody's advice to Rosie yesterday was just take these few weeks. Great time of year, right? Everything's kind of closing down. It's a time of reflection and renewal and preparing for the new year and the exciting times ahead. So just take this time to leave your job. Accept that. That is what has happened. A new chapter is dawning, is coming. Just give yourself a few weeks before you get into January and you can start planning in earnest. So that's the second type. Take some time for you and deal with the guilt by reminding yourself that you are such a vital ingredient in your business. And the third aspect, or the third tip that I would give you, again, is around time. And this is about organising your time. So having a plan is really important so you feel focused and you know what you're doing, but set your day up in an intentional manner. So plan in, put in your diary the things that you want to do. So if you want to take 30 minutes to wander outside and walk around, in my case, walk around the dock or walk in the park or walk down the street, put that in your diary, put those 30 minutes in your diary. If you want to spend time working on a particular customer proposal or piece of work, put that in your diary. Plan your time intentionally, plan your breaks and plan your work and plan what you want to achieve so that you have an experience of time that is much more healthy rather than feeling like you're firefighting all the time. Plan in some time for dealing with your emails, dealing with admin, dealing with things that come up during the day, but also plan time in your day to do the things that you want to get done, including taking care of yourself. So they are my 3 tips in terms of time around self-care. Have time between all the different activities. Take time for you, guilt-free time for you when you've made big decisions or you need just to take some time to reflect. Do that and tell yourself, reassure yourself that it's okay. It really is okay, and it's more than okay. It's good for you. And the third tip is then organise your time in your calendar so that you're being very intentional about what you're doing, and build in time, of course, for those unexpected things that come at all of us. So I'd like to give you a challenge then coming out of this. I would like to hear what you think about self-care. I would like to hear how you manage your time, and my challenge to you is take a look at your calendar, take a look at your diary for the last week and reflect on those 3 aspects. Do you plan in breaks between calls and meetings and activities? Do you take out time for you for things that are important, whether it be exercise, time with your friends, or just time by yourself to reflect? And do you organise in your diary what you want to get done, and does that help you achieve what you want to achieve? So there's my challenge to you. Take a look at your calendar over the last week. Let us know what you still... My phone just rang. Note to self, put your phone on, take your phone off phone mode when you are doing a Facebook Live. So my challenge to you is look at your calendar and let us know what you find when you look at your calendar. And what do you learn when you look at your calendar? What reflections do you have? What comes up for you when you look at that? And what are you going to do differently when you plan next week? Let us know. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions on this subject of self-care. I wish you a really happy Friday. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you have an amazing weekend, and look forward to speaking to you next week. And take good care of yourself. Bye for now.